How can you bring yourself, Sun and Leo, to the collective, shining that heart authenticity? Because even Pluto isn't a match for that. Pluto, who wants to transform us and change us, who wants us to maybe get rid of our ego in Aquarius. Pluto, who is sovereign at 0 degrees Aquarius, who is connected to everything, but not in the heart. That's where the Sun in Leo brings us back, is we need to come back into the heart. And at the same time, Venus is at the degree that she stationed direct at last August. So this is probably related to a story of the feminine in your life. There's a story of, something that happened last August, August 13 to be exact, was the day that she stationed retrograde. So that's not exactly it. September 4th was the day she stationed direct at 12 degrees of Leo. Something was happening in that time period that may be coming back up, that needs to be dealt with, that needs to be felt with, that needs to be discussed. And Mercury has come to the end of Leo, which is also allowing us to express more boldly, right? More creatively. Maybe you have a poem to write about something that happened last August. Maybe you have a song to sing. It doesn't always have to come in a conversation with someone. There's so many ways. Maybe you have a letter to write. And you can do that with Mercury and Leo here. Mercury is in his shadow as well, and he will come back to this place in the chart in August, on August 18th, and be Cazimi the sun at that point. So July 22nd and August 18th are connected. So thinking ahead, what are you doing that weekend? And what might you want to express more boldly while you're doing that? These are how we tie in these cycles as we look forward and we look back to study the history of these planetary energies and how they weave our tapestry together. Now, the other thing that happens on the 22nd is that Mercury at 26 degrees of Leo is squaring Uranus at 26 degrees of Taurus. So Mercury squaring Uranus is our lower mind squaring our higher mind. That brings some mental tension because we're like, what we want to say or communicate is at odds with the bigger picture of what we're pulling down. Now, Uranus and Taurus is pulling things down through our bodies. So notice your body, the symptoms of your body. If you're getting itchy, if you're getting rashes, if you have diarrhea, can we do poop talk here? If you are experiencing things in your body and through your senses, your smell has picked up, or you're noticing yourself activated sensually, it is that Uranus awakening that's coming through your body. And it might cause you to speak quickly. Mercury and Leo, speak boldly, speak without a filter. So we want to be aware of that, and we might hear some surprising news on Monday, or we might get some sort of information that's like, oh, wow, okay, didn't see that one coming. Mercury and Uranus. Be flexible. Welcome interruptions. Don't plan exacts on Sunday or Monday, you guys. This is why I'm trying to get this out early too. Don't plan to be doing something exactly, because it's probably not going to work out the way that you wanted it to. Just let yourself flow a bit more on these days. Embrace radical new thoughts that are coming in. Mars is also, there's a lot happening. Mars is also trining Pluto while this happens. And with this, Mars sort of becomes a little bit of a planetary release. Mars and Uranus both have a little bit of a planetary release here. And that's bringing in innovation, new ideas, new thinking. Like, what if I got a new car rather than having to fix my freaking old car all the time? Hey, there's a new idea, or what if I got an e-bike and I didn't drive anymore? How would that change my life? How would that slow my life down? These are things that we want to be, not maybe that particular conundrum, but, it's really like, how can we innovate? I also, for the first time in my life, and I'm going to talk about wealth as much as I can here, because I really want for all of us to start having financial conversations everywhere, because it's time for the money to be flowing in, for us to work with our money in new ways. And so this whole weekend, I'm watching hourly what my crypto stocks are doing, and I am selling and buying. And this is fun for me. And I'm using just a little bit of money, and I am learning. And I'm reaching out to people in my community who know about Bitcoin and who know about crypto and who know about these, financial gains. And I'm trying to talk the language, and I am working into this energy of how can I start to have this relationship with money that is fun, that is Mars and Gemini, that is playful, Mars trine Pluto, that can help my work in this world. I don't want to do this from a scarcity place. I want to come to you guys overflowing with so much abundance in me that I get to ooze it onto everything I touch. And I want that for all of you. You know, that the old days of the starving artist and the old days of the struggling woman or the witch who has to hide her magic in the woods, that's coming to an end, because we're going to build an actual structure that will be so nurturing and nourishing and lovely. I've heard so many clients in the last 3 days say, I'm going to tell you something that I don't tell anyone else. And I'm like, why don't you tell anyone else? And why can't we have these conversations everywhere? This is my life. I have these conversations all the time. And it's time for us to tell it to everybody. It's time for us to really, go into the grocery store and be like, oh yeah, do you know Mars and Uranus are together, not going to get the raw milk just for this day, and for that to be normal conversation. Like, we are so connected to this new innovative world, and Pluto right now is retrograde in Aquarius, and so we're not quite there yet. And Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, and so we're not quite there yet. But it is profound times to be thinking about how can we move forward our innovative spiritual selves to create a more nourishing world for all, where we all leave interactions that are like, I got goosebumps. I get goosebumps every day when I'm in conversation with people. I want to get those goosebumps. I just want to live with those gooses right on me, where it's like, whoa, everything is just falling in at the right time. Yesterday at the night swim that I had, the merganizer, I don't know how to say this duck's name. The hooded merganizer, I believe it is, but correct me right now out loud and laugh at me if you want. Floated by with 4 of her ducklings, and the ducklings, it was really wavy, and they were like surfing the waves. They were having so much fun, these little ducklings. And it's kind of rare to see this duck with like her babies, and especially to see them literally playing and having fun. And we just sat there in awe. Like, our world is so magical. So watch for the magic. Mars in Gemini increases synchronicity. It increases the messages that are coming in, but it might make us so overwhelmed that we can't really catch them. And it's up to us to sort of move into nervous system regulation. Now, for Monday into Tuesday, we have that Aquarius moon that is also very innovative. It removes us a bit emotionally from the maybe profoundness of the moon. With the sun moving into Leo, we're going to have a bit of an emotional reprieve, if you will, in a sense, before we go into that Pisces moon that will come on Tuesday. And so Monday is just a good day to sit back, watch, witness. Those who are seeking power or control, it might really rise up over Sunday, Monday. And so watch, witness, watch what you're trying to control. Whenever you're gripping something, it's important to notice that the clinging. What are you clinging at? I cling at my specific creamer in my coffee, and it's really starting to get to the point where I'm like, I know I need to let this go for right now. I know I need to, but it's something I cling. Are you trying to control situations in your life, especially around, kiddos, around relationships, like other people? We can't control other people, and control might be a big theme of this weekend. And there's also going to be really exciting creativity that's coming through this weekend and into next week. So letting yourself dance and create. We get that Pisces moon on Tuesday. So later in the day, maybe not too late in the day. Yeah, 7 a.m., so not late at all. Starting, Tuesday morning. For those of you in Eastern time, it will be a little later. We get the Pisces moon, and that's going to drop us back into our feels. The moon makes an opposition to Mercury, Tuesday morning. And again, we're feeling some friction, a little bit of friction in our minds. We might have really prophetic dreams coming up right now. And you might want to go back to January 20th, when the sun and Pluto entered Aquarius together, because now Pluto's back at that 0-degree mark, but the sun is across from Pluto. So January 20th might just be a day where some storyline started around January 20th. And now it's getting another message that wants to come through. The Pisces moon and Mercury are making this T-square, and their output is Uranus and Mars again. So we're not really over the volatility of this time. It's still very volatile. The more that we can move the energy, I keep just seeing like people running up and down stairs, or like, you have a conversation. And I had a friend who had like a really gnarly conversation with a customer in her store, and she went to the bathroom and did jumping jacks. I'm like, that is the most brilliant use of that. Like, shake it out right away, move it through your body. Because what will be coming up right now might be like, ugh, so go out, I also like sun gazing at later, like the sunset, sunrise sun, gazing at that sun. It literally transmutes us. It literally goes right into our pineal gland and helps us think clearer. The more we can get that sunrise, sunset, red light, the clearer we can think with all this energy. So try to do that this week. If you haven't went out to see Venus, if you can see her, try to see her as well. On Thursday, we're going to move a few days ahead here. So on Thursday, we move, the moon conjuncts Neptune. It's sort of weepy energy early morning. And then shortly thereafter, Thursday morning, the moon moves into that 0 degrees Aries point. And there is some new fresh energy. Mercury is also moving into Virgo on Thursday. Yes, over here. So Mercury is at 29 Leo, and then within the hours, we'll move into Virgo later Thursday. And Mercury into Virgo starts to bring in a more of a refinement to our mind. We're starting to have a little bit, tiny bit less passion, more facts. Discussions become more logical, but the content may be really delicate. And Mercury is actually forming, and you can't see it because I don't have my software with quincunxes right now, but Mercury is actually forming a quincunx to Pluto and a quincunx to Neptune, which means that there is a yod or a yod, a finger of God in the sky. And the release point is 0 degrees of Pisces. And so there is some awkwardness, something could get kind of weird here with this ingress. Something sort of unexpected could happen, but it is like sort of faded material that is showing up on Thursday. And, thinking back to when Saturn was at 0 degrees of Pisces, which was March 8th and November 4th of last year, 2023, Saturn was making moves into Pisces at this time. Of course, it was far longer because he ingressed into Pisces. He stayed there for about a week. And then he stationed direct at 0 degrees Pisces on November 4th, but he stayed there for 2 weeks or so. So thinking back to March and November of 2023 may help you to see what is sort of being triggered by this. So it can be deeply spiritual. With 0 degrees Pisces and 0 degrees Virgo, it could be very healing. Could be there is a healing coming for what sort of was shaking out back then. Maybe you're checking your boundaries and you're like, dang, I did the Saturn Pisces thing. I anchored, I had boundaries. And now, there's a healing coming for that, but it's very sensitive. Could be sensitive to our guts as well. Mercury in Virgo has our intestines talking to us. Our literal gut health is talking to us. So noticing what your body is saying to you when Mercury is in Virgo. Great time to edit, you guys. Great time to be going through details. If you had to block out some time to create work on a project, July 25th for about a week would be a great time to get some work and editing done on a project that you've been wanting to do. Friday, July 26th, we have that Aries moon and we have Chiron stationing retrograde. Okay, so the moon will actually come to talk to Chiron later Friday evening. So next Friday, I'm going to be at Roots and Blues. Chiron is stationing retrograde and will be retrograde until Christmas, till December 29th. And so Chiron in Aries has been a long journey from 2018 on that is teaching us about who we are, remembering who we are, self-identity, self-agency, self-expression. These are all Aries items And Chiron is our wound, our triggers, our healing of like remembering who we are. Now, the moon actually triggers that April 8th eclipse point of 19 degrees as well. And so this is like a day, Friday is a day where we are taking what started back in April of this year with that eclipse, April 8th, and taking what maybe even started back in 2018 when Chiron moved into Aries. And we are starting to really, really heal now. We're in the third decan, the final 10 degrees of Aries with Chiron. We are at, territory that we haven't actually been to yet. Chiron's going to station at 23 degrees and move back and then move forward. And Chiron really is that piece of like, I remember who I am. I am not going to self abandon anymore. I am not going to put others before me at the cost of my own mental health. I am going to take my agency into my own hands. I am going to, protect myself first and foremost and that little inner child inside of me. And it can be like literally looking in the mirror and being like, it's not in this decan of Aries, it's not about who we are physically as much as it is who we are spiritually. So if you wanted, this might be a good day to do some sort of like past life regressions or like deep meditations or sound journeys or healing or whatever you can do to sort of get that time out that helps you to remember who you are and that who you are is enough. That all we're trying to do is unlearn who we're not. That's really what we're doing is we're unlearning and we are moving back into the knowing of who we are. I wrote in the notes some of the dates that Chiron stations. So Chiron tends over the last 3 years. Every July, Chiron stations retrograde, and every December, Chiron stations direct for the last 3 years. So you may notice this theme, Christmas in July, It's like either something is happening for you in July that feels very tender, very vulnerable, very intimate, and maybe there is a reminder to like loosen your schedule so that you can focus a bit more on self agency. And then every December, it's like Chiron stationing direct, and we're starting to go forward with the stories of, yes, that is who I am, and now I can take it into the world. So retrogrades are a little bit more internal, going into that more reflective zone, and then the stationing direct over the winter, it's like we go forward with who we are. So you might just want to, dig into your soul just very deeply. No big deal. That's it for the week ahead. That's all I'm going to talk about today on this recording. I am really so grateful for all of you deeply, and I love you all, and I can't